Hi, everyone. It's Will McCoy from EdTech Authority. Our podcast is ready to go for today. I'm excited to jump in. We have an amazing guest with us, and we're going to be talking about building a team, working with consultants, and growing your product. So, without any further ado, let's jump in and have a great broadcast. All right, welcome everyone. We've got an incredible topic today, several topics, a fantastic guest, a client turning good friend, turning inspiration for me. I'd like to introduce Anu Bidani. She's the CEO of STEM Minds. Good morning. How are you?
Hi, Will. Pleasure to be on your podcast show today.
Well, thanks. So we've got lots of great topics to cover, and it's such a pleasure to have you here because we quickly developed a great rapport between our companies, and we have some very candid discussions and very. Um, you have an incredible, powerful team with you, so congratulations on that.
Thank
Before we
you.
jump in, can you? Oh, of course. Before we jump in too far, can you tell the audience just a little bit about your own background?
Sure. So my name is Bidani. I'm the founder and CEO of STEM Minds. I consider myself as a woman in STEM. My career has all been around technology. Before launching my venture STEM Minds, I was in a corporate career in technology and financial services for over 20 years. I started at a junior level position, learning about technology and financial services, and leaving the organization 20 years later as a managing director doing technology transformations on the trade floor. So I very well understand technology and the impact it has on careers and job opportunities. And as an employer, what I am looking for candidates when I hire. But I think for me, what was more important was with my kids, my two boys, who are 13 and 16 now, what STEM meant for them. And were they building the skills to be successful? Because I consider myself a very successful individual in my career. I've had great opportunities of leadership. I've had great opportunities to see so much that many
Right.
people just dream about. So having had that, my dream for my children was, will they see it? And I think that was kind of where my whole journey of entrepreneur started with STEM Minds. They were my inspiration to launch it. And I love technology, and I always look at ways of how technology can be used as a facilitator for innovation and growth.
Right. Well, and a background in finance certainly doesn't help as an entrepreneur. That's just an added bonus, I would bet. That
Yeah.
being said, please tell our audience about STEM Minds, what you guys are up to, and your primary products.
Sure. So STEM Minds is all about science, technology, engineering, math as a holistic skill building tool set. That's how we refer to it. In the jobs of today and tomorrow, their employers look for very specific skills around collaboration, communication, critical thinking, creativity, and STEM is a perfect tool set to build those skill sets. And so STEM Minds focuses around STEM as our niche offering for digital skill building for children in kindergarten to grade 12. And we do that through our holistic programming, which we offer both in person in our learning centers, but also in our online delivery channel, which has been designed as a multi channels, I guess the best way to put it, to fit the different needs of audience. So if you are a school, a teacher, a blended learning model may be best for you because we want to see teachers empowered in front of the classroom. If you're a parent at home and your kids want to learn STEM skills, then a self-directed model is more appropriate for that audience. And if you're looking for online content, ebooks may be a better strategy. So we've created our content once and make it available in these multiple channels, whether it be in person in our local communities or online for a wider audience. And our content is designed in skill building step by step. So you start at a basic level and you keep building your skills with complexity as it comes with it. We've got 16 courses that have been designed already and a lot more in the pipeline. Because I think what's really important is to recognize just because you build content once doesn't mean that's what it stays forever. Technology around us is changing really fast. We are in the fourth industrial revolution, and the rate at which technology is changing, we need to change our instructional curriculum at the same pace. Otherwise, we will stay disconnected with where the market is going and where education needs to go. Because the reality is that's the problem we're trying to solve, is the disconnect between skills that employers are looking for and the skills that kids are building in elementary school and high school and as they go into post-secondary. So I think it really becomes important to kind of bridge it all together. And that's what we do with STEM Minds, with the way we design our content, the way we evolve and grow it. So it's moving in the same parallel path as the technology around us is changing.
Right. Very good. Well, and your approach to those multiple channels and the way that you approach the needs of your client is fascinating to me. And you're the first company that I've seen that does it as thoughtfully, in that you provide those different opportunities for entry, right? If someone's only ready for an ebook, you have that available. If someone's ready for a self-directed course, you have that. And then, of course, you have camps and virtual camps and all of the other wonderful, wonderful products that really, there are opportunities for anyone that's interested in STEM to get a taste, to try it out, or to jump in with both feet and become very, very involved. Um, so a lot of people use the term STEM, right? And
Yes.
it's almost becoming cliche in that everyone is calling themselves STEM. But for
Mhm.
you, what is STEM and why is it important to kids?
For me, STEM is a very fundamental tool set when it comes to building skills that are required for jobs of today and tomorrow. World Economic Forum has identified that by 2030, 1 billion people need to be retrained. 42% of people whose core skills are today are going to get changed by 2022. That tells you the rate at which change is coming to us and how do we keep on top of it. And STEM is a very powerful tool set between skills you build from science, technology, engineering, maths around communication, collaboration, creativity, critical thinking. They're all packaged very well in STEM field. And that's the power of using STEM for education in skill building. So collaboration, as an example, promotes confidence in kids. Critical thinking is it increases motivation in anyone who wants to kind of to get their brain working and exercising, right? Communication is a very powerful tool for emotional development, and creativity is an emotional outlet. So when you look at children and you look at them as a whole individual, it's just not technical skills. The social emotional learning is very integral to their own development. So STEM is a really wonderful way of not only imparting technical skills that may allow you to do a job tomorrow, but as an individual, it really connects the social emotional learning together really in a very powerful way, which is sometimes hard to see.
Right. Now, that's a beautiful segue into my next question, because you've built an amazing team, and they are not only fantastic thinkers related to the technology that's in place, but they are also highly um, socially aware and engaged. Can you talk about building a team? How did you shape the team as you were bringing them on, and how did you build such an exceptional team? Because frankly, it's one of the highest functioning teams that I've had the pleasure of working with.
Hey, thank you for that compliment. I really appreciate that. So, I'll go back a little bit, a few steps. So when I transitioned my career from corporate into entrepreneurship and moved from a financial services vertical into an education vertical, I had a huge fear factor in saying, okay, how am I going to go change have an impact to education when my background is technology. I'm not a teacher. I haven't taught in a classroom. And I think that was the thought that really made me focus on what is a team that I want to build. I wanted a team that complemented me. I understand business, I understand numbers, I understand product development, I understand technology, but I don't understand what it feels to be a teacher in a classroom because I was never a teacher. So my first step was making sure that my team was grounded in education and understood what it meant working with with children. And teachers are the highlight. And I think even during this COVID-19 pandemic, we have seen the role of teachers in the life of a child. And I firmly believe that I can be the best subject matter expert, but I cannot be a teacher unless I truly have that social emotional connection with working with children, because it is a lot of work. Working with kids is not easy. They are, you know, they are a pleasure to work with, but their needs are also complex in many ways that have to be understood to make sure that you're imparting skills that sticks with them. So that's why, giving that mindset, my first step was going to hire teachers. And most teachers, that I was looking for hire were already working in school boards. So it was really hard to find that pipeline of talent to work with. So I actually went to university in Canada, in Ontario. There's it used to call UIT, one of the few universities that actually had a bachelor's education program with STEM fully embedded in it. So I was able to hire my first cohort of teachers who were graduates from that program, had actually learned robotics, coding, all of those things as part of the Bachelor's of Education program before they became certified teachers. And they became my input into starting this whole team, all focused around education pedagogy. How do you connect with kids? How do you teach them? And these young men and women were so passionate about taking all of this learning they spent 2 years studying in theory and going out in the world and making a big difference. So that's how it started, with me hiring with a group of teachers, making sure they understood the whole education pedagogy, working with kids. But I also wanted to make sure that they were complemented with subject matter experts who had a deeper dive in the STEM fields. So I had a combination of professionals who were STEM expert graduates and teachers, and I blended them together. And what was important in our team building was that everybody had to learn everything. You could not be an expert just in robotics or just in coding, because if we're going to tell kids to develop holistic skills in STEM education, then you yourself have to reflect that value system. So we made sure that all the staff were cross-trained, we were working with each other. And the other thing that we did, which was very interesting, was that I had non-STEM teachers actually develop STEM content. Because at the end of the day, we talk about empowering teachers in teaching STEM, but how can you connect with them? How can you relate to them? And some of the top teachers had an art background, had English background, and they came in and they learned coding, they learned robotics, and they asked the best questions to the subject matter experts. And that was the thing. And that's how we started a team that was interestingly excited about developing STEM content, because it was full with curiosity, with questions, and building something new. And that excitement created the motivation. And as this team started working with kids, it was the direct passion of seeing the impact on children. And I think that's kind of what created the culture of core values we have today, which is about fearless learning. It's about, learn mistakes are okay. There were so many value systems we built together. And all of my staff have one thing in common, and that is they truly want to work with kids from the bottom of their heart, and they want to give them a platform for success. And I think that passion and that mindset really, really reflects in how we design content, how we deliver it, how we connect with kids. And that's what started a great foundation of a team that was building STEM content and delivering it. And then as we grew as a team, we hit another interesting, I guess, milestone or a phase where now we were good as teachers and subject matter expert, and the business had grown, and it was now about learning business skills. because it wasn't just about delivering content. It was being an entrepreneur yourself as a teacher to see what are new things I need to do, how I need to do it. So, we made professional development a very core part of our team, that every year we spend time developing new skills, whether it be leadership skills, business development skills, teaching new content. And I think that's what has allowed us to create a wonderful team that is rich in its understanding of what teaching is and how to connect with students, but also appreciate what it takes to run a business and the choices and decisions we all need to make to create a more balanced business, working with kids. Because I've always said, kids are not commodities of which you make money. Kids have to
Right.
be cherished, they have to be respected, and you truly have to work with them in a way that impacts their growth in a very positive way. And that's what the entire STEM Mind team believes in.
Well, and I'm going to use that clip again and again and again with new clients, just so you know. We have so many companies that come to us with uh, technology and ideas and software and hardware, and they're about product. And they want to get into ed tech, and they're forgetting the ed side. They forget that these are children and not commodities. I love that. And the fact that we're shaping human experience. And
That's right.
that's something that we don't take lightly. And so there are clients that I have turned away because I didn't see educational value. And there are companies I've had to have long conversations with to help recenter them between ed and tech instead of one
Yep.
way or the other. The growth that I see in some of our clients is really interesting in that I see them shift over time as they gain that experience with students, right?
Yes.
And they get that engagement and they get that experience where they're seeing the interaction. I can't emphasize enough how critical it is that they engage with children if they're going to be doing ed tech. And
That's right.
I love working with your team. I love working with the fact that many of them are teachers with a teacher background. um, I think just enhances the value of your brand, which we've talked about, and your team. So thank you absolutely for bringing that up. Shifting gears for a second, you have this amazing team, you have these incredible products, and then here comes COVID, right? And everyone kind of had to take a breath, get balanced, and then think about how are we going to pivot? How are we going to become successful in this, whatever this new normal is? So can you talk a little bit about what you're doing as a company and how you've shifted?
Yep. I have to say, COVID-19, I will never forget the date, March 13th, 2020. It will always be engraved in my mind. That was the day we actually made a decision to close off our learning center. And the following week, we were running March break camps, and I had sold out camps. I had workshops and programs planned for the next 2 months because we want a growth trajectory as a business. So I had a lot of booked contracts in business. And that was the day that for the first time, I do a lot of risk assessment planning in my business. For the first time, I realized I had no control over my situation. The pandemic was driving it.
Yeah.
And it was a coincidence that me and the entire team were together that day because we were planning for the next week. And we sat there and said, even though we so much want to run this camp, ethically, morally, it wouldn't be the right thing to do. Because at that day, the emergency order hadn't been published in Ontario yet. It was published the following few days after that. And so we made a very difficult choice that day to close the business. And I had a weekend to think through what was I going to do. I shed my tears. I went through my emotional outbursts. Oh my God, what it is. And I want to acknowledge that because I think we're not robots, we're humans. And we touch lives of humans, right? And even my staff are people with family obligations, with parents, with bills to pay. You can't take shutting a business lightly. So I had to go through my grieving process and get up one morning and say, okay, I'm done. Now I'm going to move forward because glass is always full for me. It's never empty and it's never half empty either. It's always full. So it was about, okay, we have done some amazing things. What can we do to really go out there and help parents? because they were going to be an issue. Parents just got told, hey, kids home now, schools are closed, figure it out. So over the weekend, we actually pivoted and launched our online programming starting the following Monday. And we were lucky. We already had a technology infrastructure in place. We wanted to do virtual camps, but our clients weren't ready because everybody was comfortable coming in person. So online was an afterthought. But this was a perfect storm in making for virtual programming. Everyone was ready. Kids had to get busy. So overnight, we launched our virtual camps. Since March 30th, 15th, we've been running them very successfully. We started with running one camp a day to see how we would work. We started with 2 hours, one camp a day. And oh my God, the response we got was amazing. And we moved to running 3 to 4 camps a day. We did partnership with corporate companies who wanted to support their employees who were working from home and wanted to keep their kids busy because there was no childcare anymore. They brought us in to run camps for kids while their employees were busy in meetings. So we did that for a significant period of time. And I have to say, we were so ready for it. My team, for the first time, theoretically knew they were comfortable in virtual camps, but had never done it. First time they went on screen with Zoom and Microsoft Teams and did these virtual sessions. And I have to say, stars were born. Some of my staff were heroes of these kids because they would come up with these cool virtual backgrounds and talk to kids. They replicated the social, emotional, personal experience online. We used breakout rooms to create those personalized experiences for kids when they were having trouble. We used chat, we used collaboration by having all kids showcase their work. We used very simple tactics that replicated the in-person experience we were already giving kids. And that's what created a great program offering for us for virtual programming. And we're still running strong in summer camps. My virtual camps now are more popular than our in-person camps. So COVID really allowed us to pivot the business in a very positive way with great impact. Financially, the numbers weren't the same, but from an impact perspective, it was awesome. We have touched
Right.
more lives of kids, not only just in our community, but nationally in Canada and in US, because we have clients coming
Right.
from all over now, which really has strengthened our offering quite a bit. But during this time when we were doing COVID, because our learning center was shut down, I had a full makerspace in my facility with laser cutters, 3D printers. So we actually pivoted our learning center to become a PPE manufacturing facility for healthline workers. So we had a number of staff who volunteered, who went in there and we produced face shields that were donated to healthline workers. So we were so happy that we used our real estate, learning center real estate in a positive way to help healthline workers, and had all our staff back gradually coming to work in delivering virtual programming. And COVID has shown to us that we are resilient, our content is great, and the way we deliver connecting with kids is unique, in its own right. And we've been very successful in doing all of that.
Yeah, and well, and there are big next steps in the works, right? So tell us a
Yeah.
little bit about your next steps. I don't want to blow the surprise. I'll let you share.
Well, absolutely. So, for me, I in 2019 when we launched our online academy, our goal was to, expand that platform internationally so that kids, no matter where they were able to access STEM content. And with the COVID opportunity, we started seeing a lot more interest at the US communities, which meant that our programs, our content had a place. They were filling a gap in the market. So we are super excited now post COVID to be very strong in launching our STEM Minds USA brand, launching our virtual programming, our online courses. So families, teachers can all use our content and the power of our learning and bring it to their communities, to their schools, because it works. And and I've said that to many other people before. One thing unique about STEM education is whether you use a 3D printer in Canada, in US, or Brazil, it works exactly the same way. So our
Right.
content is exactly like that. It doesn't matter where you come from, the skills you're building are totally neutral. They are neutral skill building and can be applied in any jurisdiction, in any geography, because it's meant to make STEM education accessible to all students.
Well, and one of the really nice pieces that I've seen and I know about related to this project is you found an alternative revenue source to help with this
Yes.
expansion. And can you talk a little bit about the Canadian government and how they're helping out?
I am proud to be Canadian. I'm proud to for our government really standing up and supporting small businesses. We were given so many opportunities to make sure that we were part of a thriving economy. We got wage subsidy that allowed us to bring all my employees back from temporary layoff to I have full staff back on time because of that grant. We were able to grant access other grants that allowed us operational funding to keep making sure that we were able to pay our bills. And one really important grant that I'm proud of is our Can Export grant, which allows Canadian companies to export their products to foreign markets. And I was able to get that grant for the US market. So we are using that now to establish a US presence and hopefully, sell our content and our programming to the US client base. So
Right.
none of this would have been possible if these grants weren't available, and the rules were very simple. For me to get on board was not difficult at all. So I am very grateful for the opportunity for the government and making all these programs available. And sometimes it's being at the right place at the right time. And we were so ready to take advantage of all of these opportunities for growth. So COVID has caused a lot of anxiety, a lot of challenges, but it has also
Mhm.
opened doors. And I'm more excited about the positive things that it is open for us than focusing on all the negative things that went with it. So
Right. Well, and I think it's so critical for entrepreneurs, one, not to give up, to seek
yes.
all the additional opportunities that do exist, to look to the government or small business association here in the US, PPP loans, all of those different things that are out there for US based businesses. But wherever you are, look at everything, turn every rock and explore because there was something that brought you into this. And yes, the
Mhm.
situation is making it more difficult, but for me, it's a matter of how bad do you want it? How bad do you want to
That's right.
succeed? How bad do you want this to get to market? And you can find ways. I don't give up. And I think that the Canadian government has done a phenomenal job of providing opportunities for you guys. We're obviously incredibly happy about your move to the US. And we just, I want to commend you and your team on that resilience factor. I think that that's something that our students need to work on as well, right? Is that resilience and that grit and the ability to roll up your sleeves and find a way to make it work. And so I think it's a great case study
And
for that.
And just sort of add to that point, I think sometimes we underestimate the power of resilience. And I'll tell you, during these virtual programming sessions, we truly saw how much kids were struggling. They may be tech savvy on iPads, but when it came to that interaction online and having that resilience when things don't work your way, your mic's not working, keyboard's not clear, you really needed resilience to get through it. And it was about, and when we work with kids, you can't have one standard for kids and one for yourself. And so we always try to make sure we're going to ask kids to be resilient, make mistakes, and we have to be comfortable showing it to them that we did it too. So in this
Right,
whole situation, that was a very core part as well of making sure that, to your point, that this is a really good case study, but it's also to recognize that if we're going to ask kids to build the skills, then we better show them that we can do it too, right? So it's a both
right,
goes hand in hand.
very much so. So, as we're looking at case studies and examples, I'm sure you have a laundry list of different pieces of advice or pearls that you can share with other entrepreneurs, especially in ed tech. Would you mind, you know, what are the pieces that you wish every ed tech entrepreneur knew?
So I'll share with you my top three thoughts, and I truly believe in them. I think the first one is, in entrepreneurship, it's really important to take risk and bold steps. Sometimes we hold our own growth and opportunities back because we think small. And for me, that has been one of the biggest learnings from when I started my business in 2016 to where I am today, where early stages of my business, I was so worried about getting everything right and perfect that I took very little risk. And today, 4 years out, I'm very comfortable taking risks. I am comfortable knowing that I have a good product. I know what I'm capable of doing and I believe in it, and using that confidence as a way of my decision making. So I would highly encourage, don't be shy in taking risks and be bold about them, because the more bolder you are, the more you will know how far you can push yourself at a
Right.
personal level and also as a business, the limits and boundaries of your business opportunities. The second one I would highly recommend is don't try to do it alone. As an entrepreneur, it can't be one person shop. You can't do everything. There's not enough hours in the day to do everything. You may not have enough skill sets to do everything. So I think it's really important to feel comfortable bringing on strategic partnerships and outsourcing work where you don't have the skill set. And I have done a lot of that in my business. So, and when it comes to education, pedagogy, and teaching, I rely on my teachers. When it comes to marketing, I've hired a digital marketing firm that takes care of my ads, my analytics. I don't need to learn everything. I don't need to know everything. When it comes to business development and growing, reaching out to you was one of the best decisions I made, because I don't have to worry about all of those things. I can rely on your expertise to help me. And I think as you go through the strategic partnerships, validating and valuing what partnership is right for you is a very personal decision and choice. You do need to look at, is there a good fit between the partner you're working with? Are you able to have tough conversations? Because in entrepreneurship, for me, when I had partners I was working with, which was always pat on the back with no constructive feedback, I worried. I can't be
Right.
that right. I have bound to make, there has to be things that I can do better. And what, that skepticism was important because it's healthy skepticism, right? It's not that I'm second guessing myself, but I want to know, right? What else could I be doing better? So I think having strategic partners and consultants you can work with to fill in the gaps of the skill sets that you're comfortable in delivering and where you need to bring partners, first of all, allows you to grow your product offering in a more stronger way, but
Mhm.
it's sustainable because you are not relying on, you're not running it on a thin thread, right? Like you've got enough people to work with you. It's almost you've extended your entire team with strategic partners. And that's, to me, is a very strong way of growth and scale. And it's something that I have utilized really well. And the third one that I'd like to say is, don't listen to naysayers. There's lots of people who will tell you what you can't do. And I firmly believe that if you believe in your idea, the problem you're solving, and the impact you're willing to have, it's important to listen to your audience, to listen to who you're trying to help, and evolve your product and solution to the point that addresses their needs. But that does not mean your product wasn't good. It just means your idea needed evolution, and you have to give yourself the opportunity to do that. My robotics course that looked in 2016 does not look the same way in 2020. Doesn't mean I
Right.
did had a bad product. It was pure evolution. And that evolution comes by believing in what you're doing, but recognizing that I may have to evolve. I may have to pivot. I may have to listen to things. I may have to evolve my thinking, right? And that evolution is part of that dealing with the naysayer mindset, it's because it's very easy to get discouraged. You, as
Right.
in entrepreneurship, your highs and lows are very frequent. So in those low
Yes.
moments, it's the strength and courage you get in believing in why you're doing this that makes you
Right.
get up and do what you have to do next.
So playing to that, how do you keep yourself motivated? I know that you have a couple of behaviors or practices that you do to stay motivated and stay centered. Can you talk about those just a little bit? Because this entrepreneurship can be all encompassing. It can be
Yep.
7 days a week, 24 hours a day, 365. And I know that I took a break this weekend and I went to the lake and I didn't take my computer and I didn't use any tech. And it was so important for me to get back to the smile that I have this morning, the the energy level. How do you stay motivated as an entrepreneur?
So for me, I think, balance of life, I think, is very important. And to me, balance of life is about choices. There's no right or wrong choice. It's a choice you have to make in a moment. So when I have a lot of critical things I need to get done, I honker myself down and I get it done. I'm very organized. I'm very solid with my time management skills. So I know how to organize myself really well to get to the end game. But I also find times when I need to take a break and just disconnect, and I do that with my family, going away, whatever it may be. And those disconnect moments are actually very powerful because it allows you to think with a very fresh mind, with very energized mind. And there'll be times I'll have my cup of coffee and I'll go sit in my backyard, just watch the trees and listen to the birds. And I'm
Right,
thinking. But that clarity of thought you get in that moment is very powerful. So it is important to take care of yourself, because if you take care of yourself, your decision making choices will come a lot better. And I do believe that mental health is a very critical part and should be part of every entrepreneur's portfolio.
right,
Because being an entrepreneur, you go through moments of chaos, panic. You go through those lull moments. It's like, oh my god, everything is just not working the way I thought. But it's in those moments you can bring that resilience and strength in to overcome and move forward. So for me, I have these practices that I follow, day in, day out, to make sure that I don't put myself in a rut. But I also believe in vulnerable leadership. And this means that when I'm having a bad day, I am not shy in telling my team, I am really sorry, but today I have a writer's block. I can't write. I can't think clearly. Help me. And I will have to tell you, the first time I did it felt really hard. It felt
mhm,
like that I was letting my team know that I wasn't good enough to deal with an issue or a challenge. But I tell you, Will, my staff has more respect for me today because I acknowledge that I
absolutely.
have the same days as they do. And that's why I call it vulnerable leadership. So now
Yeah,
my team and I all know, if you're having a bad day and feel like shedding a few tears, go ahead, do it. It's okay. If we are
right,
finding ourselves in those moments we need an uplifting, ask for it. There's nothing wrong with it. So I firmly believe in it, and that vulnerable leadership has helped me keep a sane mind at work and deal through those high and low moments that I go through when things don't go my way, or when you have a chaotic situation you have to deal with. And my staff are not comfortable doing the same. They will come to me
right.
saying, I'm just having a hard day today. I'm like, all right, take a break. It's okay. So I think, these things are really important to build that mindset around a balanced lifestyle, wellness being part of it, and recognizing that vulnerability is not a weakness, it's a strength. It is a
Right.
strength that is human in nature and applies to everybody out there. So, that's kind of my mode of operation of how to work with it as an entrepreneur.
Well, and I appreciate that. There's so many pieces out there right now about vulnerability and leadership, and so for our final question, I wanted to be able to reach out. As edtech entrepreneurs, we have so many pieces of software or apps or pieces of hardware that we come across that we can't live without. I happen to love my Microsoft Surface computer. I will buy Microsoft Surface computers. Maybe not with the detachable screen next time. I never use that, but I love the computer itself. And so we always ask because we like to give shout outs to other companies for appreciation. And so that being said, is there a piece of tech that you love, can't live without?
So I have to say, I love the Surface Book myself. I'm on my second Surface Book, and I wouldn't replace it with any other laptop. So I love that. I have to say, I literally run my entire business on my iPhone.
Okay.
I have all my apps, from my email to Dropbox to OneDrive to anything I use. All my Microsoft Suite of products that I use, I can access through my iPhone. And I find like I've automated a lot of things on my phone, so I can literally be anywhere without my laptop and I can operate. So it's one device that I keep very close to me, because without my phone, I feel like, oh my God, my office is gone. So so that is my office. I have like, but I've installed a lot of apps that have been great. One of the apps that I really love is Dashlane. With the number of passwords that we had across so many websites and products and tools,
Right.
was a huge issue. So we moved towards Dashlane, and I love the product, the fact that I can organize my passwords, my keynotes, and it really helps me to keep a safe and secure environment for all of that critical information. So and Dashlane works both on iPhone and laptop and desktop, so it's got all its variety in there. So that's one of my favorite apps as well, that really keeps me safe and confident that I can access any information anywhere I am with my phone, but still be
Right.
safe.
Well, and I'm sure they appreciate the shout out, and we'll make sure that they see that. Um, and I agree. And I said I left my laptop home when I went to the lake, but I took my phone. So I'm with you. I cheated a little bit. That
Yeah.
being said, Anu, it's been so nice speaking with you this morning. Thank you for all of your insight, your experience, your expertise, and for sharing some time with us. I know that our audience will find it very valuable. So deeply appreciative of that. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Bill, for giving me the opportunity to be on your podcast and share my journey. We're in this together, learn from each other. Great for everyone. Thank you very
Absolutely.
much.
Of course. And a big thank you goes out to our sponsors, STEM Minds being one of them. We appreciate STEM Minds. We also like WorkVivo, appreciate the work that they do for corporate climate and culture, and SchoolStream. SchoolStream works on automation of business functions within school districts. They do an outstanding job, and it's an honor to be affiliated with all of these great organizations. So that being said, until our next podcast, I look forward to hearing from our audience. Please comment in the box below, and we'll see you soon on the EdTech Authority podcast. Have a great day. Bye-bye.
Thank you. Bye-bye.